all of us must play or pay. And if we don't play, we still must pay. Now, if we have a religious objection to this, if we have a moral or any other objection to this, it doesn't matter. If we do not participate, we will be fined. If we refuse to pay the fine, they will send someone to arrest us. And if we resist arrest, they will kill us. Right? This is what they are saying to us. Right?
No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
So we must say back to them that if you do this, you must understand that we will shoot back.
We will shoot back. And I tell, and everybody has heard me, is that I have the 3 lines in the sand. You're not going to inject me with the vaccine. You're not going to come and take my guns, and you're not going to take any of my food or possessions. You may kill me, but I guarantee you I'm going to kill a lot more. And the thing is that there are a lot of people in America who right now are teeming and seething with that exact same feelings right now. People are getting tired of being tramped on. And, I'm using the healthcare just as an example because it's the latest thing this week. Next week it could be something else. There's still cap and trade in the balance. Earlier we had Lord Mockton on talking about how the UN was still looking on global government and so forth. And I'll take a quote, and this is a quote from your website. All politics in this country now is just dress rehearsal for civil war, and that's where we're headed. And no one wants that. No one wants that. I don't want it. I have a family. I don't want to see that, but that's where we're headed.
No sane person does.
Yeah, and before we move on, I do have to take us to break real quick. But before we head out to break, Mike, I have to, with your last 2 statements, I have to tell you I'm in 100% agreement with what you said. I even think that your strategy is exactly. Somebody has to say it. Somebody's got to tell them. Somebody's got to say it. Because before it hasn't been out there, Bob Chapman has said that we would have. If the health care bill passed, the hate crimes bill, that we'd have revolution in the streets. And I think they can just go in their hidey hole. And I think that it's far beyond time that they realize that it's not going to be that easy. So we'll talk a little bit more on that as soon as we come back from break, folks. We'll be right back. I want to thank you for joining us here at Freedomizer Radio, folks, making us the #1 show here tonight. Be back in about 2 minutes. All right, and we're back at Freedomizer Radio, and you're here at Hardtail News with Doc, and of course my co-host for tonight here at Militia Wednesday is Joe Racer, and my very special guest from the Sipsey Street Irregulars, Mike Vanderboe, and we're talking about, of course, the march here on Washington on April the 19th, which of course is the anniversary of the shot heard around the world. And I told folks we've got a few callers that have been in queue for a moment, and we're going to take those calls in just a minute. Joe had a question real quick, so right after this question we'll take your call. So thank you for joining us tonight, Mike, and I'm telling you, it's refreshing to have you on here. I went over and I read your blogs, and I said, you know what? This guy's saying it like it is. So I just got to tell you, man, thank you for coming on our show.
No problem.
So Mike, on the 19th, okay, when we talked earlier, and like I said, I am totally with you, brother. I'm behind you 100%. This is in your face to the government saying that, you know what, we're getting really pissed and we're tired of all this stuff. And you told me, about, what would you do or what would happen if the government wanted to make something of it? You want to comment on that a little bit?
Well, we're certainly there offering ourselves up as a convenient Boston Massacre, should that be what they're looking for. One of the things that people who want to come to this should be under no illusions is we intend to obey the law to the letter. We intend, however, to make as strong a statement as we possibly can within the law. We intend to do it in a disciplined fashion. We intend to do it in an organized fashion. and we intend to scare the shit out of these people. Excuse me, can I say that?
Well,
okay.
we can get away with it once. But that's
all right. Well, I won't say it again. We intend to scare the excrement out of these people.
There you go.
The brown stuff.
That's right.
And the idea is twofold. First, that these are rights that we've always had.
Yes.
All right. To the extent that we're obeying the rules that we're obeying.
You cannot take something away from someone you don't have the right to take away.
Exactly. Now there's an interesting wrinkle coming up in this Chicago case, the way it's crafted, which for the first time in a long time gives me a little bit, a tiny scintilla of hope for the black robes. But one of the issues that they're going to have to decide is the possession of a firearm a civil right? Now, if they rule that it is in fact a civil right, then guess what? Civil rights can't be taxed. And if civil rights can't be taxed, that throws into jeopardy the entire gun control scheme starting with the 1934 National Firearms Act and moving forward through the 68 Act, because those are nothing but taxation laws. If you cannot tax a civil right, then, oh my, does that mean now that we can own machine guns without fetter? Does that mean we can own RPGs without fetter? It is a civil right, is it not? So
yes, it is. Yes,
so
it is.
Now I say that in hope, but I also don't think that that's going to happen.
That's not the reality of it.
The reality of the situation, frankly, is that they may not get around to trying to seize our guns because their whole house of cards may collapse within 6 months.
Now, you wrote an article called, or at least I don't think you wrote it. It was actually an email from somebody else, but it's on the Western Rifle site that you spoke of, 100 Heads. Can you go briefly into the substance of that email?
Yeah, sure. Sure. One day I went to the post office, as I often do, and there was this neat little card, very, very tidily printed, and it said basically, "Dear Mr. Vanderbilt, you understand that one of these days, because of what you write, and I appreciate very much what you write, one of these days, they're going to come and collect your head. And I just want you to know that if that happens, I will collect, personally, 100 heads for yours." And it was signed with the MOS numbers of a Marine Corps Scout sniper. It had a marvelous little drawing, Indian sort of style drawing. Later proved to be, experts said it was of a Cherokee dog soldier or something like that. Anyway, when you get a message like that, it just sort of floors you. I just sat there reading it and rereading it in the car. But the fact of the matter is that he's not the only one. I was at a gun show right after Obama got elected. And of course, everybody's buying everything. And here's this one fellow I know. He's retired Special Forces officer, shall we say. And he's training a bunch of guys, both veterans and newbies, down in South Alabama. And I said, "Well, I see you guys aren't carrying a whole lot out." And he says, "Oh, hell, Mike," he says, "We're ready. We've been ready. We're just waiting for him to kill you."
So, did you say thank you very much?
Oh yeah, of course I did. Of course, I mean it's a compliment of sorts. Yeah. So, there is one thing two things really I'd like to get across here. One, of course, is the when we get a chance, I need to get you the email addresses of the rally. All right.
All right.
Can I go ahead and do that now?
Certainly. I was going to give you the last 5 minutes, but go ahead and do it
now,
and then I'll have you give them.
As long as we get the time. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and do it. If you're all writing it down, it's Restore the Constitution, all together, Restore the Constitution, .wordpress.com. There is also a networking and planning site, and it's muster, M-U-S-T-E-R, number 4 dash number 1 and number 9 .ning.com. It's muster 4-19.ning.com. So one's the networking and planning site. The other is the general Restore the Constitution site. But the other point I wanted to make is, we